Hello everyone, welcome back to the program. As previously mentioned, we're now going to mark our first talk show of the day in regards to Indonesia as the largest archipelago country in the world, where it consists of thousands of big, small islands spread across various regions. However, these small islands generally have limited access to energy, especially electricity. One solution to overcome this problem is to utilize renewable energy technologies such as ocean thermal energy conversion, or Otec.
Yes, that's why on this segment we will be discussing the potential of Otec as a source of renewable energy in Indonesia, from its economic benefits, challenges, and how the Indonesian government can support its development. To learn more into this topic, we have now in our studio Lumare founder and CEO Nadia Febina. Good morning, Nadia. Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
For having me.
So, can you tell us more about this new technology? So, it hasn't been implemented in Indonesia, right? This is quite new and lesser-known technology. Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, so Otec itself is actually, it's not implemented elsewhere in the world yet for commercial use, but it has already demonstration size plant in Japan and Hawaii. So Otec is basically a technology that is using seawater temperature to provide electricity or power. So the way it's, so you need three main factors for Otec is a working fluid that can be boiled or turned into vapor in lower temperature, like 24 degrees Celsius. And you need a warm source, which in this case, because it's ocean, so the warm source is basically the warm seawater, which is from the sea surface. And then third thing, and you need a cold source, which is from the ocean, is actually the deep sea water. It's around 4 to 7 degrees Celsius, and you can get it from the deep sea below. Deep sea means below 200 meters below the surface. So yeah, so you need these three things to make Otec work. And so the way it works, actually the working fluid is circulated in closed cycle, and it's actually, and then it's warmed up by the warm source, the warm seawater, and turn it into vapor or steam.
Yes.
So this vapor is then used to turn the turbine, which can produce electricity.
Right.
And then the vapor in the closed cycle is condensed and cooled down by the deep sea water from the deep sea, and it becomes liquid, and so it's a continuous cycle.
Right.
So this principle is actually not new. This principle is using steam technology that used in many plants, like even coal plants using the same technology. Nuclear, geothermal, also steam technology. But Otec is application using the heat from the seawater.
That is the technical process right there that you just kind of deliberately shared with us. In regards to what we were saying before, how Indonesia, we are a maritime country, so I think this technology is I think it's just very correct for our country and what our country needs. Again, where it consists of many islands, and we know it's somewhat imbalanced in regards to water issues, especially electricity in the small rural islands. In regards to that, I'm pretty sure you know the data and also the statistics and also facts in regards to the condition of those islands, in regards how are their conditions in electricity, water, and other issues.
Yes. So in Indonesia, because as you mentioned, it's the remote islands, if you mostly are powered by old diesel generators, and to actually transport the fuel from the main islands like Java or Sumatra it takes a lot of transportation costs. So it just makes sense to have a locally produced electricity source, and also that there's also a water issue in these rural islands, and so that's why I think Otec, not only Indonesia, is the biggest potential and the highest potential in the world by far. It also needs this type of application in island environment.
So how powerful or how effective is actually the Otec technology to generate electricity compared to other alternatives?
So Otec is, it depends on the size, because Otec is designed for small, medium size. So at the moment, the demonstration size in Japan and Hawaii is 100 kilowatt only, but it's for demonstration size. So in the world now, there are some Otec enthusiasts, and that we're trying to actually try to commercial Otec. We have association for this actually, and a global Otec enthusiasts and Otec producers are one of the ones that want to become the developers of Otec.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we are in the early phase of this Otec
Technology.
technology.
So Otec
So
itself.
what are the challenges to expand the usage of Otec? Because at this moment it's still like on the experimental phase, as you mentioned, 100 kilowatt, right?
Yes. So the technology is proven. Now the effort is to commercialize it, right? So the challenges is really compared to other renewable sources, renewable technologies, Otec is probably needs relatively higher investment upfront. However, it's projected to require low OPEX, operator expense.
Yes.
And it also has a high capacity factor. And also, not to mention, Otec is also baseload power. So compared to other renewable technologies, they are mostly intermittent. So you need, so it's day and night, Otec will produce. So we don't need battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to that, Mbak Nadia, Lumare Energy is here upon us. Please do share with us more and elaborate how with Lumare Energy, using Otec itself can provide access of clean water, drinking water, and also electricity, especially in these remote islands and rural areas.
Yeah. So it's born out of, Lumare is actually born out of love for ocean and our passion with the climate issues. So we researched and we looked what is the best solution for island environment, because we are the biggest maritime country in the world.
Yes.
So I came across this Otec technology, which was close to my background back then.
Okay.
I used to work in oil and gas industry, and Otec uses the same facilities as in oil and gas, like the same equipment, heat exchangers, pumps, pipelines, all that. So for me, it's familiar.
Yes.
And then I found out that one of the most characteristic of Otec compared to other renewable is that Otec is using deep sea water, right? So deep sea water is unique commodity because it's cold, it's clean, and it has high nutrients. So this deep sea water, after we use it for the Otec cycle to produce electricity, this can be used for further applications that support blue economy and benefit the community.
Yes.
So one of the things that this deep sea water that can be used for application is to produce fresh water, which has high demand in the rural areas.
Of course.
So as we know, the desalination, traditional desalination plant is energy intensive. But with deep sea water, because of its cleanliness, so it's not, it needs a much lower energy and much lower cost to actually produce fresh water.
You just touched upon in regards to economic-wise, or the economic factors with blue economy. So what potentials can it generate, especially for the community?
Right, so deep sea water can be used in many things. So first, this fresh water, right?
Yes.
And then the brine can also be used for salt.
Oh, like sea salts.
Sea salt, yeah.
Yes.
So deep sea water has high mineral concentrated mineral, and also the nutrients can be used for agriculture, as aquaculture, for example, and cold water. What do you call it? Cold temperature agriculture. So you can, for example, grow spinach or strawberries on the on the coastlines.
Yeah.
So such things, it depends on what the location needs.
Yes.
We can choose which co-products of the Otec that can be used further for the community.
Excellent.
Yes,
Wow.
okay. Very interesting. You mentioned that Otec is actually low in operational cost, but it needs a lot of initial investment. How big
It depends
is
on the
it?
size.
Like, for example, for an experimental one, for example, just like the one that they did in Japan.
Oh, right. Well, in Japan, it's probably different than in Indonesia because of the labor cost and all that.
Yes.
But yeah, it needs, maybe in the
$1 million?
in the range of, yeah, a single-digit $1 million.
So in regards to that, then you need a lot of supports, whether that's a collaboration with other sector and definitely a support from the government. Is that something that you're also seeking from Lumada Energy?
Yes, we are now looking for funding, of course, for our first pilot, yeah, in Indonesia.
Yes, yes. Because Indonesia has this commitment to achieve low zero emission, right? So how can Otec play part or contribute in this mapping of Indonesian plan for the net zero emission?
Yeah, it has a lot of potential, and the application potential is also large. So yeah, it's good to have Otec as part. Well, it's part of the ocean energy. It's good to have Otec to be in the map of energy mix of Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
So with Lumada Energy itself right now, I mean, you were coming here in studio to kind of like educate the people and our watchers. And so hopefully, you know, a lot of collaboration with Lumada Energy, especially supports from the government. What kind of activities that Lumada Energy and also your team has done thus far?
Okay, so we're completing our design. And we have identified potential locations in Indonesia because you need studies for...
Can it be disclosed?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it will be in eastern part of Indonesia because Otec needs deep water. And needs deep water that is close to shore. The closer the better, so you can actually be more efficient with the capital cost for the deep sea pipeline. So yeah, it will be in eastern part of Indonesia.
Yeah, from the design planning to execution, usually how long does it take to have Otec in operations?
Once you have the design, when you have the funding,
yes.
I think up to 1 year,
It's not too long
It's not too
if we
long, yeah.
compare it to like blue ammonia or other.
Oh yeah, that's completely different.
Yeah, it took years. Yes.
Well, with that said, thank you very much, Nadia, for coming here. We know this is not only going to change the platform or changing the face of Indonesia. We know that we're emerging Indonesia right now with Lumada Energy and with Otec itself. We can have a balanced kind of life, especially for people across Indonesia.
Yeah, and we can make use our natural potentials.
Yes,
Right?
that's the idea.
To solve the
Yeah.
problem of energy in Indonesia. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
Best of luck
Thank
for
you.
the funding and the
That's right.
financing of this technology that we really need, right?
Yes, and will be supported, of course, by the government and all the private sectors collaborating.
Yes, we do hope so. All right, guys, we're up for another short break. In the meantime, don't forget to follow our social media accounts if you haven't already. We're on Instagram, of course, YouTube, as well as X at C Today News. Stay tuned.